Aloha everyone, I'm Soraya Laturna. I'm one of the top real estate agents right here in Kailua-Kona, and I help sellers get top dollar for their homes. And I also help buyers relocate to the Big Island, purchase secondary homes or investment properties or luxury homes. So today we're going to talk about some tips to get the top dollar for your home, selling it in a really fast way. So let's get right into it. Sellers ask me all the time, Soraya, can you sell my home for top dollar in the least amount of time? I want it to be gone from the market right away. And typically the reasons why they sell is because they're relocating, they are going through a divorce, they want a bigger house, or their parent passed and they need to liquidate the assets right away. There's many reasons why people sell homes. And the answer is always yes. I can definitely sell your home for top dollar. That's not an issue at all. I just want sellers to understand that when you're selling a property, it really is a relationship between me, your realtor, and the seller. There is definitely a partnership in that. There's a lot of work and trust that needs to be put into selling a property. And a seller has a huge impact on the timeline in order to sell a property. So it's really important that you work with your realtor in order to get really good information and make sure that your home sells well. There's definitely tips and tricks to selling a home for top dollar and really fast. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I want to definitely emphasize that a relationship needs to be a partnership, and we have to set realistic expectations as far as your home. They have to be set from the beginning. It's going to help everybody save a lot of time and a lot of hassle if we're able to have a very open conversation about realistically what your home is going to sell for and how we can push the envelope in order to get you top dollar for this home. The first thing that you need to do is you need to prepare your house for the sale. And I have some videos where you can see past clients that talk about the whole process of me preparing their home for the sale and how it takes about 3 to 4 weeks depending on the property. And what's really interesting if you do watch this video is that they say that they've never had an agent do that before, where they went through this entire process of making sure that their home is ready for sale. And part of the process is just making sure that your home is serviced. And what I mean by that is we're going to have a pre-listing inspection. I'm going to pick the toughest inspector that's out there because I'm always thinking of what's the worst case scenario if a buyer were to hire someone, and we want to know what's going to come up. And so typically the things that we fix prior to coming to the market will be things like ensuring that faucets, any type of plumbing that needs to be tightened or that there's a leak, that all that kind of stuff is fixed. We're also going to service things that maybe haven't been serviced in a really long time. I'm thinking the AC system or the water heater, things of that nature. And then we're going to paint everything. We want to make sure that it looks really nice so that when somebody walks in, there aren't scuffs and drawings on the walls, things of that nature. Another thing that we're going to do is we're going to look into your septic or your cesspool to see if there's any sludge that needs to be pumped out. We want to know that. And the reason why we're doing all of these things is because buyers will look at all of those items. And when buyers look at all of those items, they will do one of two things if they come up during an inspection and you haven't done any work prior to listing. They're going to either A, back out. They're going to look at this huge list of things that are wrong with your house and be completely overwhelmed and just think, oh my gosh, what else isn't on there? This is just one guy coming through this house, the inspector, and he came up with all these things that are wrong with the house. Maybe there's more that's wrong. We're better off just backing out and not purchasing this home. The second thing that they may do, so B, is they may ask you for a very large closing credit or a price reduction, either one, where they'll say, hey, I'm taking on all of these things that need fixing, and so I'm going to ask for a lot of money. They're going to get estimates from different providers. They're going to be outrageously expensive and, of course, in their favor. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's why we do this entire thing. The second thing that you need to do is you need to look into staging. Staging. It's one of the most important things to do to prepare your home for sale. And it has very large financial benefits. It's been proven many times that If you invest in staging, you will get your money back and more for sure. So staging is one of those things that I would definitely not skip on. It's been proven over and over. Staging pays for itself, and I always recommend my sellers to get staging and to really take it into account seriously. I'm going to show you, this is a picture of a home that has staging versus no staging, right? And what I want you to think about is that the home that is staged tells the buyer their story versus the home that is not staged tells the buyer the seller's story. And what I mean by that is when we're staging a home, we're not staging it because it's pretty and that's cool. We're really staging it because we want to attract buyers and we want to sell to them a dream. That's what we're doing when we're staging. We are selling the buyers a dream. We want them to envision themselves in the home and to really have this dream of what life would be like in this house. So that's why we're doing staging. One thing that I want to note is a lot of agents don't know how to do staging properly. And you can see that when you scroll through Redfin or whatever website you like, and you can see that some homes, they've tried to do staging. It definitely was a little too edgy or it didn't have the right story, and you can tell right away. And so what we want to do is we have a proven record of staging that has worked from condos all the way to luxury homes. And so one of the things that I definitely want to communicate is that there is an art to it. Not everyone's really good at it. I think that there's a big difference depending on who you hire and how all of that works. One of the things that I can definitely do is I have a really good eye for that because I work so much in the real estate market, do a lot of transactions. I was always with buyers, always with sellers. I have a really good pulse on the local market. And so for me, it's really easy when I'm walking through a home, I can easily see things that will attract or deter buyers right away. I'm not a stager. I typically hire that out. I have great contacts for that. But that is something that you need direction from a real estate agent because stagers sometimes we need to give them direction on who the ideal buyer is for your home and how you want to attract that. All right, the third most important thing is you want to do photography and professional photography. I don't want to see any pictures where the agent's holding the phone and we can see their head in the mirror or their hand is sticking out. We don't want any of that. We want professional photography. We want a drone to be flying up there taking aerial. We want a professional video of your house or your property. And for some properties that are at a higher price point, typically we do a 3D walkthrough, we do a Matterport, and we also do all of the floor plans so that the buyers can really, really see what it's like to live in this home. When I sell my client's home, I always do professional photography. That is a non-negotiable. We do this every single time. And the reason why we do that is because photography is so important. It's the first impression. It's the reason why buyers want to walk through the door and come in. One of the things that I cannot control though is if there's clutter. Typically, I'll come through the night before, the morning of the photographer coming for my listings, and I'll walk through the home either with the seller or not, depending on if they live on the property, and make sure that it's ready for photography. If it's not ready, I will definitely point out which items need to be taken away or hidden before the photographer comes. But if you don't do that, and let's say that you leave all the clutter, the photographer will come and take pictures with all of those things out, and it's going to be professional photography, but with tons of clutter, and there's not much to do with that. They're going to be awful pictures regardless of whether they're professional or not. So there's definitely a partnership between the realtor and the seller as well, where we're trying to work to achieve the goal together of selling your home for the highest price. So we just need to make sure that we're aligned on the expectations and make sure that we're doing this correctly. What typically happens if there's a lot of clutter in a home is that the buyer is going to focus on the clutter. They're not going to look at the features of the home. Their eye is going to be automatically drawn to that stuffed animal that was left on the ground, or that sock that's by the bed, or the toothbrush that's by the faucet. The buyers will be drawn to all those little items, even though they may just seem very normal to you because you live in the home, but that's how buyers work. I can't explain it, but that's just how they think. So we just have to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and completely decluttering the home. So if you want to sell your house, prepare. Get ready. Just make sure that you do everything either the night before, that maybe you make a little to-do list so that you can check it the day of and make sure that you've taken care of everything, you've taken the trash out, all those good things. And that way you're very well prepared because it's very important. All right, the fourth thing is price. Price is king. Price is everything. Price is the vital way of selling your home. And 90% of the time when I come to meet my sellers and we talk about pricing, they're always up here. They're always trying to go for the highest dollar because their neighbor or whomever listed their home at that price at some point. But little do they know they actually didn't sell their home at that price. They sold it at a different price. Maybe they have a different view. Typically, sellers will say things like, well, my neighbor's home was listed at blah, blah dollar, and they don't have the kitchen that I have. They don't have the view that I have. They don't have this cabinetry or this lot size or whatever it may be. And I totally agree with you. But let's look at what it actually sold for. And the other thing that I want you to think about is that buyers aren't dummies. Buyers know the ins and outs of the market. The buyers have been doing their research. They're actively shopping. They're looking at the prices of everything. They've probably seen your neighbor's home. They've looked at everything on the market. They're very well in tune with market value. And so when a home is over asking or over market value, they know right away. Buyers are not dummies. They know right away. And what happens is they just write it off in their head. They think this seller is unreasonable, this price is unreasonable, I'm getting ripped off, so I'm just not going to look at this house. Another thing to keep in mind that maybe helps you as a seller is that we are still in a very low inventory, which means that buyers are able to see everything that's for sale currently because it's very achievable. There's not a lot of homes for sale. So they'll go through every single home and they know exactly what it looked like on the inside. And another thing is they are so good at market value that when the property is at market value, they know right away and they jump on it. They put in an offer right away. That's what I advise all of my clients. The problem with starting high and then doing a price reduction is that now your days on market are higher. And so when buyers are looking at your property, they're thinking, okay, what happened? Did they go under contract? Is something wrong with the house? Why are the days on market so much higher? There's this perception, it's not reality, but perception maybe is reality, right? There's this perception that your home is not worth market value anymore because the days on market have been so high. And so the home is stale, buyers aren't that interested anymore, and you may sell your home for less than what you would have had if you marketed at the right price and at the market value. So just as a side note, just to help you as well, is that a really bad agent can sell any home that's under market value. It doesn't matter. If you're giving away a house, it doesn't matter how good your agent is, someone's going to buy it, right? They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure out the contract. They're going to get by because the buyers are going to think, I'm getting such a good price on this home that I'm going to overlook all the mistakes and all the bad negotiating and get this house. On the opposite side, if you have an amazing realtor, the best realtor on the market, and you're trying to sell your home for a price that's completely out of range and super high, it doesn't matter how good your realtor is, no one's going to buy it. Nobody. There's no buyer who's going to look at your property and say, yep, I'm going to pay 1.5 times market value for this home because I just love it so much. There is no buyer who's willing to do that. So it doesn't matter how good your agent is. I don't care how good your agent is. They will be unsuccessful. It's not going to work. They're not going to be able to sell your home. So it's very important to get the pricing right. That's why I'm spending so much time talking about it, because pricing is key. Pricing is the way to attract buyers or completely deter them forever. And one little story I want to mention with you is that I just sold a property this month. It was 1.1 million. It was It had, I believe, 8 different competitors, so like 8 other properties for sale around it that were very, very similar. And one of the neighbors, who's actually a real estate agent, who purchased her property in the last 6 months, actually came to me, contacted me, and was like, "Hey, how did you sell this house or this property? How did you sell this property for this price this fast?" And the reason why she was saying that is because it was a cash offer, 30-day, and it was a really, really good price compared to all the comps that were there that are also for sale. And it didn't have an ocean view. It didn't have anything in particular that put it over the top of the other ones. And I told her very simply, it was pricing. We spent 4 weeks while the property was getting ready for market, and I was in and out, checking out all of the competition, making sure that when we were pricing the home that it was going to sell right away. I wanted to make sure that I was acting on behalf of my sellers and helping them achieve what they wanted, which was top dollar, sales fast. And we did that. We did exactly that. And so if you hire the right agent and you trust them, they will act on your behalf. They will have your best interest in mind, and they will try to achieve your goal. And that's what I did for these clients. And it was really fun to see another agent in this area recognize that. Of course, we did other things that I'm not mentioning that are marketing related, but that is another video that could take over an hour. The fifth thing that you need to do is you need to hire the right agent. When I come and meet sellers, typically they've had a really bad experience in the past, and they communicate that to me, and they'll explain how their agent didn't communicate well, they were not available when they were trying to reach them, they didn't know what was going on in their house. Did they do an open house? How many showings did they have? How did they go? Like, they had no idea. In addition, they're typically not very happy with marketing or the pictures or something of that nature. So it's very important to hire the right agent for you and for your property. It just seems like too much, right? Like, every time I go, I keep thinking, okay, that's way too many things that are wrong, and that's not what we do. You need to hire an agent who knows the market, who's very competent at pricing, marketing, and selling your home. And they need to be very good at negotiating. They need to be very good at escrows. They need to be able to drive the sale from the time that you have an offer to the finish line. You want them to sell your home and to know how to navigate that, write contracts, negotiate all of different contingencies. You want them to know the ins and outs of the entire process of selling a home. I've had many clients call me because they've enjoyed their experience and saying that they're looking for a home elsewhere, whether it's because they're moving or they're relocating or purchasing another property. And typically they ask me to put them in contact with someone on the mainland or somebody within the state. And I'm happy to do that. I mean, if I did such a good job and you want the same experience, I do have a network of agents that I work with who have the same high standards that I have when I'm doing my job. And so that's why it's great to hear that, because I wish when I purchased property that I had an experience like that, and that I would have been able to rely on my realtor so much. So it's really great to see my clients coming back and wanting some help, and me putting them in contact with great people where I know they're in really, really good hands. The sixth thing is, when is the best time to sell? Most people think it's summer, because summer is hot, it's sunny, there's no clouds, and everyone's out, right? School's out, everyone's on vacation, all that stuff. It's not. It's one of the worst times to list your home. The actual best time to list your home is actually November until about April. And what's funny about this is a lot of people think, or sellers think, well, the holidays. What about, like, it's the holiday season? Actually, it's one of the best time to list your home, because that's when we have the highest inventory, the highest amount of people in the area who are here shopping. I mean, it's wild to think, but buyers come to shop, to look at properties during the winter time. And the holidays is actually a selling point if you're a seller, because most people, when, again, we're selling the dream of living in your house, right? When people look at your property, whether it's a condo, a house, or a luxury home, they envision themselves spending a holiday in that home. And so the fact that the holidays are right around the season, people think, okay, I want to close and own this house by New Year's or by Christmas or by Thanksgiving, whatever it may be. And then they will put in aggressive offers with aggressive timelines in order for you to move out by that date so that they can be in the house. So holidays are typically a selling point rather than a negative when you're listing your property. It's also the best weather of the year. We have whales, it's cooler, it's the best time to buy a property. The seventh thing is feedback. Feedback is so important. You want to know what people think about your property. Feedback is extremely important to get, and you should have a real estate agent working for you who gets feedback and lets you know about it. Feedback is sometimes really hard to hear. It's hard for us to deliver it to our sellers, but it's necessary. I'm going to show you an example of what we send our sellers on a weekly basis so that you can see. We let them know how many open houses we had, how many attendees were there, what they said. We also tell them how many private showings we had. Same thing, what they said. Are they shopping around? Are they looking at different houses? We tell them how many inquiries we're getting. Online, people asking us questions or other agents asking us questions. We also let them know how many people are saving or hearting their property, how many views we're getting on all the marketing that we're doing, a response we're getting from that. Now, I know some agents are probably looking at this and cringing and thinking, oh my God, that's so much work. And they typically don't have time to do all of that. But I believe that transparency is the way. And it's the way to give feedback to our sellers so that they are in the know with us. And if there is, let's say, a topic that just keeps popping up, maybe we need to address it, right? This is the feedback from the market telling us this is a big issue, big hurdle in order to sell your home. So either we address it or we do a price reduction, just depending on what the issue may be. One thing I didn't go into in this video is how to market a house. There's just so much to go about on that topic. It would probably take over an hour of me talking about marketing. But the main thing that you need to know is that we do everything in order to sell your home. And you should find an agent that can show you that they do the same thing, that they have a pulse on social media, that they're able to get a lot of attention and grab people's attention if they're doing any type of online advertising, that they are strategic with the placement of your ad, that they're not just boosting or whatever the cheap way of doing an ad is, that they actually know how to do that. Digital marketing is huge. It's the new age of marketing, and we're very good at that. But we also do some of the more traditional marketing. So depending on your market and your audience, like who your ideal buyer is, maybe traditional marketing is better. We live in an area, Hawaii, Kona Coast, and Hilo as well, where traditional marketing is very effective. So some things that we do may be like door knocking or print advertising or even radio ads. We've done lots of different things in order to sell a home. And marketing is just an entire thing that I don't want to bore you with that, but there's a lot that can be done there. The essence of all those efforts around the marketing is that you need to find an agent who wants to sell your home, who has your best interest and works for you, with you, right? Because you can't be against me. We're on the same team to achieve the same goal, which is sell your home for the highest amount possible. And so you want to make sure that you're working with an agent who's very knowledgeable, who's experienced, who can really help you sell your home. And we do all these efforts to sell your property. And as I probably have explained by now and you've understood, is that it is a lot of work. So we don't accept all sellers. I'm very picky with who I work with. If there is a seller that I encounter who wants to sell their property for a price that I don't think is achievable, I'll turn them down. I'm not going to work and put that much effort into a property that I don't think will sell for that price. So I'd rather them go through another younger agent, maybe less experienced, more eager, who needs the exposure versus the need for them to actually sell the property at that price. And then when they're ready, when sellers are ready, they can come back to me and then I'll sell their home for the top dollar and fast. Because I have no problem breaking records, having the highest sales in neighborhoods. That's what I strive for, and I think everyone wants that. But I'm also not going to be unrealistic. There is a line there, and that's why you work with a very well diverse, knowledgeable real estate agent who can advise you on what that line is and where to price your property and do all the other things that we talked about today. So if you're a seller and you're thinking about selling your property, you want a market analysis, or you want to chat about what we can do for you, just give me a call. My contact information is below in the description. We'll do like a no pressure meeting where we talk about your home, the needs of your home, your goal, what you're trying to achieve, and how we can help you with that. That's it. Aloha. I'll see you on the next one.